We're in the heading the second method, which is two authorities. Others were more sophisticated. They found it difficult to accept the premise of nature's supervision, since they saw that the supervision over reality to secure its existence is a far deeper wisdom than any human culmination. They could not agree that the overseer over all these is himself mindless. For how can one give that which one does not possess? Can one teach one's friend while he himself is a fool? And how can you say about he who performs before us such astute and wise deeds that he does not know what he's doing, that he does it by chance, which it is evident that chance cannot arrange any orderly deed devised in wisdom, much less secure its eternal existence. Hence, they came to a second assumption, that there are two supervisors here. One creates and sustains the good, and the other creates and sustains the bad. And they have greatly elaborated that method with evidence and proofs along their way. The third method is multiple gods. This method was born out of the bosom of the method of the two authorities. This is because they have divided and separated each of the general actions for itself, meaning strength, wealth, domination, beauty, famine, death, disorder, and so on. They appointed each its own supervisor and expanded the matter as they wished.
So basically, we are seeing a development of the methods by which people, throughout all of history, for thousands of years, people are trying to explain to themselves what is happening in the world, what is happening in our life, what's influencing us, and how should we treat it on the still vegetative, animate, human level, or maybe something above that. Maybe that there's something above that, above us. And so people wanted to somehow put things in the right order. And then what happens? Fifth method?
The fifth method left his operation. Recently, when knowledge increased and they saw the tight linkage among all parts of creation, they recognized the concepts of multiple gods to be completely impossible. Thus, the question of the oppositeness sensed in creation reawakened. This led them to a new assumption, that the supervisor of reality is indeed wise and caring, but because of his exaltedness, which is beyond conception, our world is deemed a grain of sand, nothing in his eyes. And it is not worthwhile for him to bother with our petty matters, which is why our livelihood is so disordered, and every man does that which is right in his own eyes. Alongside these methods, there existed religious methods of godly unity, but this is not the place to examine them, as I only wanted to examine the origins from which the foul methods and puzzling assumptions that vastly dominated and expanded at different times and places were taken. We find that the basis on which all the above methods were born and emerged is the contradiction between the two types of providence detectable in our world. And all these methods came about only to mend that great rift. Yet, nothing is new under the sun. And not only is that great rift not been mended, rather, it grows and expands before us into a terrible chasm without seeing or hoping for a way out of it. When I look at all those attempts that humanity has been making for several thousand years to no avail, I wonder if we should not seek the mending of this great rift from the supervisor's point of view at all, but rather accept that this great correction is in our hands.
The last sentence is not clear. This we agree. What is he saying? I wonder. He's wondering if we should not seek the mending of this great rift from the supervisor's point of view and what he supervises at all, but rather accept that this great correction is in our own hands, meaning the contradictions in the providence of whether you call it nature or creator or supervisor, whatever, it comes to me. Now, what comes to me that puts me between a rock and a hard place, between these two forces, opposite forces of nature? Is it only me that can balance them, that can rearrange them and achieve a beautiful connection between them so that both work on me the way they do, one by one or together or however they do, but for the better, always for the better? Can I do that? That's basically the question.